Today, I'm going to tell you about a benefit of meditation that is extremely useful in day-to-day life, not woo-woo at all, and actually, for me now, the foundation of the whole practice. I'm going to break it down in a simple and practical way for you, so let's get started. Okay, so meditation. Now, I know for many people, myself included, meditation can seem like this super spiritual, abstract concept, which can make it feel a bit too esoteric or woo-woo, and I totally get it. With all those spacey terms like mindfulness and introspection floating around. So for many of us, grasping the true concept of meditation can be a bit challenging. When I started out by using some app, I encountered all these descriptions about tingling sensations in my limbs or warm energies, and I was like, huh? Am I missing something here? I tried, but I really couldn't feel anything. So it seemed a little bit like this woo puzzle that I couldn't solve. But then there are all those scientifically proven benefits like reduced stress, improved focus, and even an increase in gray matter density in our brains. So I knew I have to find another approach to this, because the benefits are real. After reading some books about meditation practice and doing it more often, I encountered something that after all made a lot of sense to me. So here's the big benefit of meditation that I want to share with you, and is actually a real game changer. The buzzword is detachment. When you meditate, you are training yourself to detach from your thoughts, feelings, emotions, and even desires. Meditation at its core is about observing your thoughts without getting caught up in them. You train to separate yourself as the operator from thoughts as just naturally occurring things. You detach from them. Buddha already said, attachment leads to suffering. Detachment leads to freedom. And while he was maybe talking about outside things here, this also applies to our inside. The Dalai Lama said, to find inner peace, you must detach from the thoughts that disturb your mind. But trust me, it's easier said than done. It is a simple concept, but it is not easy at all, which is why people need to practice it. As a help to detach from thoughts, it is very common for many meditation practices to focus on your breath. So you won't give the little monkey in your mind much space to jump around from thought to thought. In the fantastic book, Designing the Mind, author Ryan Bush writes about meditation.
This practice will gradually guide you to a non-attached awareness of your own internal processes, often beginning with physical sensations like the breath and working up to thoughts and emotions. It trains you to notice when your attention gets sucked back into the captivating narrative your cognition presents to you.
Later in his book, he also quotes writer and speaker Julia Galef.
Meditation seems to train you to stop automatically identifying with all of your thoughts, so that, for example, when the thought John's a jerk pops into your head, you don't assume that John necessarily is a jerk. You take the thought as something your brain produced, which may or may not be true, and may or may not be useful.
I think of it like being at a train station, and constantly passing trains represent your thoughts. They come and go. You actually have the choice to step onto any train or simply observe them passing by. It's all about not getting entangled in the thoughts that arise. It's up to you to decide whether to hop on and let it take you somewhere, or let the train pass by. We often automatically enter certain trains because we are used to them. In a strange way, they feel comfortable to us, even the bad ones. We often find ourselves jumping into those thought trains without even realizing it. It's so easy to get caught up in our thoughts, and especially the negative ones. And that's where meditation comes in. It trains us to become aware of this pattern, to recognize when we're getting on a thought train, and to step back out of it, back onto the station platform. But without consciously being aware of this option that we have, to just let even those familiar thoughts go, the natural automatic state of us humans is to indulge in the thought. To just jump in like we would in a swimming pool. I mean, We all know those moments when we unconsciously board a train of thought and get carried away. During a meditation session, you will often realize, snap, I thought about groceries, work, or this new TV show for the last 2 minutes. And this happens all the time for all of us and all day long pretty much. But with practice, we can become much better at realizing this quickly and going back to the state of being the observer of thoughts, not feeling like we are the thought itself. As I said, it is basically practicing the ability to step out of the thought train and return to the train station of our mind. You are not happy or sad. You have a happy or sad feeling. And you are not angry. You enter in an angry feeling and let it take the upper hand over you, the operator. Most of the time we are not controlling our brain, it actually controls us. And we have to realize this and take back control. Spiritual teacher Eckhart Tolle writes in his book The Power of Now,
The mind is a superb instrument if used rightly. Used wrongly, however, it becomes very destructive. To put it more accurately, it is not so much that you use your mind wrongly, you usually don't use it at all. It uses you. This is the disease. You believe that you are your mind. This is the delusion. The instrument has taken you over.
Now, like I said, I know it's not easy. Trust me, it's not. The concept is very simple, but the practice takes time and effort. When you sit down for your meditation practice, and whether it's for 10 minutes or 15 minutes, you're training yourself to observe your thoughts and not get tangled up in them. It's a practice of constantly stepping back and realizing, hey, I'm the observer here. I don't have to ride the thought trains that come my way. There's a book by Amishi Jha, who is a director of contemplative neuroscience and professor of psychology at the University of Miami. The book is called Peak Mind, and in it she writes about how we constantly lose focus during a meditation practice and basically enter some thought train and have to come back by remembering that we are the observer. She made an analogy that stuck with me ever since then. In her words,
I want you to picture yourself dribbling a basketball. The ball drops away from your hand and bounces right back. Your focus shifts away from the task at hand and then comes back.
the more we practice, the better we will get at tripling. We won't lose the ball as much anymore. Now, here's where it gets interesting. This detachment and observing thing goes beyond just your meditation session. It can and will take some time, but eventually it seeps into your everyday life. You become the operator of your mind and not the other way around. You have the power to choose which thoughts to focus on and which ones to let go, because you internalize the concept of your thoughts and your emotions not being you. Author Thibaut Maurice says in his book, Master Your Emotions.
Whenever you experience a negative emotion, simply observe it with as much detachment as you can. Remember, don't engage in a story revolving around that emotion.
Basically, when you meditate, it's like a mental gym workout, building your observation muscle. And this trained muscle can then be used in everyday life. It goes beyond just not wanting to think about something for a couple of minutes or so. It's about recognizing that our thoughts, feelings and emotions can shape our entire day and even our lives. Our moods, our actions, they all depend on what we focus on and the emotions we dwell in. In Ethan Kross' book, Chatter, he writes about the role distancing plays in helping people control their emotions.
Researchers at Stanford, for example, linked adopting the perspective of a detached observer with less rumination over time.
You'll notice moments when negative thoughts arise and instead of automatically, which is the status quo for most people, entering that train of thought, you will remember that you are the observer. You realize that dwelling on past regrets or worrying about the future takes you away from the present moment. By observing and letting go, you remain anchored in the here and now. There's a quote that says, "Detachment is the key to finding the space and silence amidst the chaos." This is also one of the main points of Eckhart Tolle's book, The Power of Now. By letting thoughts go that would take you to the future or past. You anchor yourself in the present, the only time that actually exists and is not just a construct of your mind, like the past or future is. Eckhart Tolle says, "You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness behind them." And he also says, to realize that you are not your thoughts is when you begin to awaken spiritually. In The Power of Now, Eckhart Tolle writes,
Whenever you are able to observe your mind, you are no longer trapped in it.
well, consider this. Our moods and actions are heavily influenced by our thoughts and emotions. If we constantly indulge in negative ones, we spiral down into a gloomy state, and it can even lead to depression. With meditation and this concept I'm talking about here, we learn to step back and observe our thoughts, realizing that we don't have to enter the train. We theoretically have the power to let it go and remain in control. It might not always work, and probably won't for the majority of instances at first, but every little success here can take you to a better place at the end of the day. Entering negative thoughts and feelings piles up, and so does letting go of them, and instead entering positive ones if you choose to. You might know the saying, energy flows where attention goes. So if you constantly feed into negative thoughts, well, you're just fueling that negativity fire. But if you separate yourself from those thoughts and even train to actively shift your attention to positive thoughts and experiences instead, your energy follows suit. By consciously choosing what thoughts to focus on, you direct your energy toward positive and productive aspects of your life. And to have this option means freedom. A quote says, "To be truly free, you must detach from the thoughts and emotions that enslave you." It's like rerouting your mental GPS to a better destination. Or to stick to the analogy, boarding the right trains to get to a different place in life. You can't control what thoughts pop into your head, just like you can't control the weather outside. That's why a lot of people feel like simple affirmations don't work for them. You can't control what comes to your mind, but you can control how you respond to it by letting go or entering that thought. And that's where the magic lies. And meditation is your training ground for this. There's this quote by Jon Kabat-Zinn: "You can't stop the waves, but you can learn to surf." And this separation between things we can't control, outside things or thoughts that pop into our head, or emotions that may arise within us, and on the other side, the things that we can control, our reaction to them. Do we follow and dwell, or do we accept them and let them go? This is one of the main concepts of Stoicism. If you have seen other videos on my channel, you know about my interest in Stoicism. So this is important for me to point out here. So my friends, remember, you are not your thoughts. You are the one who decides which trains to step into. You are the operator. Well, that wraps up today's video. Let me know what you think about those concepts in the comments. Do you know good books to read about this topic? Or have you made your own experiences? Then please share your thoughts. As always, you'll find all the mentioned books in the description of this video. And if you enjoyed this, give it a thumbs up. It really helps with the algorithm. I would be super happy about it, and see you in the next video.